The Calgary Flames are in a prime position to take on some other teams' cap dumps in order to acquire as many assets for the future as possible. And in this video, we will be taking a look at an article written by a writer who has come up with some absolutely genius trades that the Flames could make in order to make the future pretty much as bright as possible, and maybe even do a reverse of the Monahan trade that we did with the Montreal Canadiens. We'll get into all of that and more, but first, I want to welcome you to Flames Digest. I'm Mark Griffith. If you're new around here and you love the Flames, make sure you subscribe so you can stay up to date on all of the latest news, updates, reports, and rumors revolving around your Calgary Flames. We would love to welcome you to the Flames Digest family. That's what we're all about around here in this community. We love spreading around the love. Here's a little kiss for you. All right, let's get on with the video and talk about this pure asset management that the Flames really can go over if they decide to take the route, whichever way you want to say it. I always get in trouble from my dad for saying route. That's why I said route. But either way, if the Flames do decide to take on another team's cap dump, it could be really, really smart and just acquiring as many assets as possible with the place the Flames are at in their terms of a rebuild, retool. I won't get into that either because no matter which I say, you guys seem to think I say the wrong one. But either way, let's get into this genius article. So all credit due here to the writer James Johnson. This one once again comes from the Win column, and he has written, looking at cap dumps that the Calgary Flames could take on for picks and prospects. So we've seen in the past, other teams have made trades where they give away a contract they just cannot afford anymore or do not want, and they usually give up that player and their contract, as well as we've seen it with first round pick, like the Sean Monahan trade I was saying or talking about before. Josh Bailey, the same thing happened last year with the Islanders and the Blackhawks. The Blackhawks took on that contract, and they'll be getting, I believe it is a future first-round pick in 2026, but we've seen it in the past, and there's the chance that picks or prospects can be involved in any of these scenarios, and it's exciting. So right now, the Flames have $20.1 million in cap space available for the 2024-25 season after the salary cap increase, and it was a big, kind of jump up, loads more cap room. Most of their roster is already set. They currently have a pair of UFAs in Shillington and AJ Greer, who should cost somewhere around $3 million to keep both if they do decide to keep both. I don't see why they won't, but we'll see. Dustin Wolf and Jacob Pelche are restricted free agents, but I doubt either is in for a massive payday. No, the Wolf contract situation is interesting. Ryan Pike recently, I believe, came out with an article that explains it. If you want to check that out more, I won't go into it because it could genuinely be a whole video on its own. But no matter what, the Flames won't be spending too much and can afford to take on one of these contracts or even more. And we'll have to see just how crazy these do get. Now, let's continue the article here and talk about some potential cap dumps that will be traded this summer. And I like that this is kind of prefaced by saying will be traded. Does that mean it's going to be to the Flames? No, it doesn't. But it just means that these teams, it is in their best interest to do these cap dumps. Now, if the Flames are hopefully not planning on rushing this reset, they'll have ample cap space and could take on some bad contracts in exchange for future picks and or prospects. Let's look at some names that might be available. All salary cap data from capfriendly.com while they still remain online. Yes, if you missed this as well, capfriendly.com got bought by the Washington Capitals. Of course, the Caps bought CapFriendly. That's absolutely insane. There goes so much content from here on the channel. If you are looking for a business project, create the next Cap Friendly. You will have so many investors and get so many clicks. I can't believe the Washington Capitals did that to us. But either way, let's continue here. So here is one, and again, this is under the chapter of this video of pure asset management. This would be taking on a bad contract and kind of a bad player as well. So the first one is a duo. I was gonna say dynamic duo, but it might be the opposite, from the Edmonton Oilers, who are of course in the Stanley Cup final right now. Now, because of bonus overages and their current contractual commitments, the Oilers only have $10 million in cap space. Dylan Holloway and Philip Broberg are RFAs, but shouldn't command a hefty payday. It won't equal $10 million. The problems occur with the amount of UFAs they have. Vinny Descharnay is the lone UFA defenseman. He kind of stinks anyway, but Ryan McLeod is their only bottom six forward under contract next year. They have a lot of work to do, and maybe this might be their only shot at making the final in the McDavid era. He doesn't seem too happy in Edmonton. But either way, Cody Ceci has one more year left with $3.25 million. Might as well take that on. And then Jack Campbell, a big one, 3 by $5 million. That is an awful contract. You take that on, you expect a first-round pick back. You wouldn't necessarily even expect either of them to play in the lineup like Monahan did for Montreal kind of thing. But either way, this could be really smart for the Flames to take on at least one of these and acquire, at least a first-round pick back. The Oilers don't have any sensational prospects that the Flames are absolutely, heart eyes looking at them. But either way, something could happen here. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. Let's continue. Justin Holl, one of the classic scapegoats of those Toronto Maple Leafs teams. There always has to be one. It was Jake Gardiner for some years. Justin Holl, of course, over the past couple seasons. Over the past seasons he played there. I know it's been a little while, but either way, he also kind of has a terrible contract. I can't believe Detroit acquired him. But either way, he's got 2 years left at $3.4 million. Talk about an overpayment. The Red Wings enter the offseason with a plethora of cap space at almost $30 million, but have a lot of things they need to do. First, Moritz Seider and Lucas Raymond are both RFAs and are bound to receive long-term contracts and expect them to be very high-paying. Seider is absolutely disgusting, and Lucas Raymond kind of showed this season how good he can be. David Perron, Patrick Kane, and Shane Gostisbehere, kind of the vets, are all UFAs if the Red Wings want to keep them around. I kind of don't see a need for the Red Wings to keep them around, but we'll see. Either way, we're saying, look, if they have to sign all of these players, there's a chance that Justin Holl could be a big cap dump. And once again, for that expensive of a contract, you could get a really good asset back. The Flames should pursue this, genuinely. What a genius the guy who wrote this article is. My goodness, I can't say enough good things about him. But either way, this could be another really good one. And even if the Flames have already acquired another cap dump or two, still try to pursue this one. See what you can get with the cap space remaining. I mean, that being said, we still want to keep some cap space. You don't want to be down near zero, but we'll see. The last one kind of in this chapter we'll look at is another duo. This one, the goalies from Ottawa. So Korpisalo and Forsberg. Corpy, he's got a lot. 4 years at $4 million. That would demand quite an asset back. And then Forsberg, just the 1 year at 2.75. The Senators' goaltending was horrific last year. They gave a decent chunk of change to Korpisalo to be their answer in goal last summer, but it didn't work out. Korpisalo ended the season with a negative 16.1 GSA-X in 55 games. Anton Forsberg wasn't any better, ending the season with a minus 7.3 in the same category. The Sens have been one of the teams linked to Jacob Markstrom. So that could be another level to the whole Jacob Markstrom trade saga. I tried to go a video without talking about it, but blame the article on this one. Either way, there is potential that something could happen here. If the Flames do not make a trade with the Sens for Jacob Markstrom, there's a chance they could take on one of these contracts anyway. Does that make that much sense? No. Out of all the ones in this article and in this video that we'll talk about, this one, I don't really see it being all that, I guess, the best idea. Forsberg, maybe. Why not? But we've talked about it in the previous couple of videos, not yesterday's, but the ones about Markstrom before. The Sens don't have any good prospects, really, and I don't know if they'd want to give up any high picks, so I don't see this one being the most likely, but once again, might as well pursue it. Now, that's kind of all the players that are just pure cap dumps. You wouldn't expect them to kind of come back and have a resurgence and then deal for more assets. But we've seen that in the past, and maybe we could get a bit of a reverse Monahan situation. So I mean a Monahan situation that actually benefits the Flames. We all remember the trade, the last trade Brad Treliving kind of made before he ditched us, and that was to give Monahan and a first-round pick to Montreal for future considerations. Look how that turned out. Monahan ended up being a beauty. What a deal for the Montreal Canadiens. But we could kind of try to make that happen too. There are some salary cap dumps out there that could work in this case. Now, the first one is Cam Atkinson. He's only got 1 year left at $5.875 million. The perfect pure cap dump, because what can you do? You can acquire him and then trade him away at the trade deadline for even more assets, because Atkinson is valuable. He's proved it in the past. Now, the Flyers find themselves in a weird position. They were in a playoff spot for most of the year, but tailed off by season's end. It seemed like they did not want to make the playoffs. Right now, they sit with $803,000 in cap space. What? That's it? However, they do have Ryan Ellis and his $6.25 mil cap hit to throw on LTIR after they become cap compliant to start the season. So the new cap salary roof helped them out, and they'll be able to put at least $6 mil on LTIR. But still, if they want to be competitive in that Metro division, they're going to have to do a cap dump, and Atkinson is going to be the man who gets kind of taken down. So let's take a quick look at his kind of statistics here. This was him this past season, a rough go. 13 goals, 15 assists for just the 28 points and a minus 22 on a Flyers team that really wasn't that bad until the end of the season. So not the best stats. We've seen in the past he's been really good on the Flyers other than this year. He had some great seasons on the Blue Jackets. So it's interesting to see that, you know, while he is a good player, it's kind of like the Monahan situation where Monahan, credit to Monahan, he was hurt in that last season for Calgary for the majority of it, but he kind of, you know, tailed off and wasn't all that good and then had a resurgence. Atkinson could be the exact same situation. Am I saying it will be? No, of course not, but it won't hurt to at least acquire, you know, a future first round pick probably in order to take on this contract, the full thing. Please pursue it, Craig Conroy. That could be genius. And who knows? Atkinson could end up playing really well with a guy like Huberdeau or even Kuzmenko or Kadri, any of the forwards. I won't just name all, 15 that could be at the NHL level by the opening night. But either way, that's the first of that could be a reverse Monahan situation. Now, the second here is Nate Schmidt. Even slightly more expensive than Atkinson. 1 year left at pretty much $6 million this season. So after getting bounced in the first round, the Jets are going to be an interesting team to watch this offseason. They currently have $13.65 million in space, but that will dwindle fast if a few guys stick around. It sounds like UFA defenseman Brendan Dillon is heading to market, which will obviously not cost them anything. That's kind of a good thing for them, even though he is good. But Dylan DeMello, Tyler Toffoli, and Sean Monahan could stay. Do I imagine any of them will? DeMello probably. Toffoli and Monahan, hey, maybe they'll come back to Calgary. We've heard that there's rumblings of an on-ice reunion. We'll have to see. Either way, that's not what is important here. We're talking about Nate Schmidt. The Jets could very well want to do a salary cap dump like we've seen other teams do in the past. Schmidt isn't all that bad. He's never quite been, a number one defenseman in this league. But, he's really not that bad of a player. Now, if we take a look at his stats from this past season, that's the wrong button. There it is. In 63 games, he had 14 points with 2 goals. Not that he's expected to do all that much offensively anyway, but a nice plus 10, which is better than most of the players we look at for the Flames to acquire. A pretty average season, kind of what you'd expect from a guy like this. And once again, he could end up being very, very valuable. He's in the last year of his contract. They could flip him at the deadline once again, like they did with Tanev and Hanifin this past season. They could do with Schmidt. Is he going to go for as much as those guys? No, but might as well bring in as many assets as possible. It doesn't hurt to have prospects. It doesn't hurt to have picks, and you can always trade that for, a legit NHL piece at some point as well. But either way, I think this article is genius, and the Flames should pursue all of these opportunities, really, when it comes down to it. Now, let's wrap up this video with the good old comment of the day. And this one has to go with yesterday's video that I'm actually recording on the same day, about Brad Larson and his hiring. And I liked this comment here, which had nothing to do with Larson, but it was from the good old general, a regular around here. And he said, "Good job, Matt Stajan Jr." Yes, I still get the Matt Stajan comparisons. That's a great guy. I want to be compared to him. Keep him up, please, and thank you. On 2K, of course, 2K subs. Thank you guys for 2,000 subscribers. Keep growing our glorious Flames Digest Nation. Yes, we are a family around here. I love every single one of you guys, and sincerely, I just genuinely am so thankful for all of you guys. You guys have made this so much fun. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for watching this video. Please subscribe if you like what you saw here today, and have a wonderful rest of your day.